Chapter 183. Rookie Actor 1. Mud and Dust was a theater company with many years of history. But now, that was all it had left. They used to be quite popular, but that was a thing of the past. After the previous owner disappeared after leaving a suicide note due to financial difficulties, the term historic theater company became an insult instead of a compliment. Come in. Did I pass? Of course you passed. Ugher. Even if you are just an elf rookie, I wouldn't deserve to be a theater owner if I didn't accept you after witnessing such a passionate performance. Still overflowing with praise, the Hobgoblin theater owner led me into the theater. When the door opened, the 130-year-old theater entered my sight. The wear on the building showed that it had truly been around for 130 years. Wow. It was dark inside. There was some light from torches that had been hung on the walls, but it was almost as bad as not having any. Soot covered the walls and ceiling. Goblins liked damp places, so there was liquid accumulated on the floor, but I wasn't sure if it was stagnant water or something else. In other words, it was visual and olfactory terrorism. This is a bit. That wasn't all. Spiders, centipedes, and various other insects crawled all over the place. All the bugs gathered to show their love for dark, wet places. Thanks to this small theater overflowed with love, overflowed with life, and above all, overflowed with spider webs. Why on earth? You must be moved. I understand. I had a similar reaction when I first saw the theater when I was young. The hobgoblin looked proud. It seems he misunderstood my reaction. My heart pounded in my chest. It felt like I was falling in love for the first time. Looking back now, that heart-pounding feeling that I had at that time is probably what led my life to this point. My heart was pounding too. The left atrium and right ventricle were pulsating as I witnessed the majesty of the spider webs that seemed to spread out like the Great Wall of China. Owner. How long has it been since you cleaned this place? Cleaned? I gave up all hope when I saw the hobgoblin make an expression that said, "What's that?" Right. In the first place, these kids were fond of muddy water from birth. Even if I nagged at them till my throat was sore, they would probably never clean up. I can't believe you managed to pass the screening without muscles. It's unbelievable. As expected of Kekerker. The original owner of this body, the aspiring actor Sonia, had become a mental body that hovered around me. Like Bei Hurayong, he floated in the air like a ghost. However, it was impossible for him to communicate with Bei Hurayong. I was the only person that could hear their voices. Suddenly, I'd become someone who was followed by two ghosts. It's like two mosquitoes buzzing in my ear during summertime. Huh? No. It's nothing. More than that, Sonia. Why did you risk your life for such a backwater theater company? Since you decided to be an actor, you should have picked a good place. I also wanted to join a famous company like the Flames, or Blazes. Sonia muttered bitterly. But those large theater companies don't even have interviews. It doesn't matter if I'm from a rich elf family. This is the only place I had a chance in. Huh. Sonia could be considered a victim of ethnic discrimination, or at the very least, muscle discrimination. How on earth did my kids become a group that only cared about muscles? Follow me. I'll introduce you to our family here at the theater company. I followed the theater owner deeper into the building until we arrived at a dressing room. There, we found a pile of worn props, in the center of which were two sleeping hobgoblins. Wake up. You good-for-nothings. The theater owner hit the hobgoblins in the head with his hand that was as large as a pot lid. Look at what time it is already. You go. You goo. The hobgoblins struggled to open their eyes. One of them had one arm while the other only had one eye. The hobgoblins rubbed their green faces with their hands before they finally spotted me. Whoa! Why is an elf here, boss? Did you hire a new ticket clerk? You good-for-nothings. This isn't a ticket clerk, he is our new rookie actor. I told you about him before. The elf that keeps following me around and asking me to accept him as an actor. So it was that annoying elf. Only then did the hobgoblin actors come to their senses. Wait, did you really take him on as a rookie actor? Why not? He passed the final test. Are you crazy? Boss. How can he go on stage with such a trashy body? He didn't have to say it like that. Don't worry. I know why I chose him. Even though his body is lacking, this guy's acting skills. My name is Sonia. Theater owner. Right, Sonia. Sonia's acting is more sincere than any other actor that I've ever seen. These days, the audience only cares about muscles, but they might change their mind when they see Sonia's acting. The theater owner affirmed. The hobgoblin actors started to get interested. Ho! For the boss to say so much. In any case, a junior has arrived after a long time. So the seniors should set an example. How long are you going to stay in the dressing room? Hurry up and wash up, then gather on the stage. Understood, understood. The actors got up. The props collapsed like a tower of Legos. Surprisingly, there weren't just 2 hobgoblins sleeping in the dressing room, there were 3. The last one had been buried in the pile of props. This hobgoblin, who had only one ear, had been sleeping comfortably while hugging a prop lion. I said, wake up. Ack. Ack. The theater owner grabbed the hobgoblin by his remaining ear and pulled him up. Despite being dragged around, the actor did not let go of the lion till the end. It was cute. As you know, the fire play we will be performing next week is The Rampant Fire Sword. After a while the actors were all gathered. The theater owner paced back and forth in front of the stage. One day, Kekrikar, who was living his life normally, met the Flame Emperor, who he always remembered. The 2 people met and one person's life ended while the other began to live an entirely new life. Recently, there have been many cases of it being reinterpreted as actually, the Flame Emperor wasn't a bad person, but we will go with the classic interpretation. Boss. The one-armed actor raised his hand. No matter how you look at it, that is old-fashioned. Shouldn't we keep up with the latest trends? Right, the audience wants something new. The one-eyed actor added. Even if it's a bit childish, sometimes it's necessary to pretend that you agree with something even if you don't. Sometimes it's necessary to pander to the audience. Ha! That's ridiculous. True fire doesn't have to choose firewood. The theater owner's eyes went wide. If you start following something simply because it's the trend, then it will never end. The foundations would disappear. The theme for The Rampant Fire Sword, where a person can look up to another person and how being disappointed by that person can affect their entire life. Other than that, everything else is blasphemy and heresy. The actors grumbled. That old-fashioned personality of yours won't change no matter what. Won't we just fail at this rate? So noisy. Didn't I add a few extra lines because you guys were complaining so much? I won't make any more concessions. Warm up your bodies and throats for 20 minutes. Then we'll start practicing. That's not good enough. In any case, we'll do as you say, boss. As the junior, I sat calmly in the audience and observed the practice of the seniors. 30 minutes passed. Wow. I came to a conclusion. Isn't this total mess? In a word, it was terrible. Fire plays were plays that used aura. When acting out a scene, the actor not only had to recite the lines, but also had to create a flame-like aura with their body to express passion. If one was proficient at using aura, then they would naturally be good at acting, and if they were good at acting, they would naturally become proficient at using aura. For this reason, the actors of the fire plays became great warriors and excellent aura users. Or that should be the case. Why are they so stiff? I muttered subconsciously. They were words that came out unintentionally. Maybe my words reached the ears of the theater owner, because he turned to look at me while instructing the actors. What are you talking about? No. I just feel like they're using their aura in a specific way. The scene where Kekerker recognized the Flame Emperor's true personality. The actors in front of me were too focused on anger. No, it wasn't focused at all. If they were really expressing anger with their aura, it would be like a forest fire. And if they expressed sadness, it would dim and droop. Instead, it was as if they were following a guide for using their aura. But it's flashy. The aura of the people in front of me went on and off repeatedly. It was incredibly flashy. But that was all. There's no point to it. Really. I opened my mouth. Fire painting is an aura art. And the pattern and power of the aura depends on a specific emotion, will, or image. Emotion comes first. If you focus more on arm movements and lines, then your aura will lose its vitality. How should I say this? It's not pulsating. That's right. It has no energy. It's limp. The theater owner frowned slightly. From his expression he looked like he used to be a gangster. What in the Kekerker are you barking about? Is that some kind of goblin saying? No. Anyways. I went up to a corner of the stage. The actors had stopped practicing and were looking at me. Now then. You have a set motion for anger, and a set motion for sadness. But you can't do that. Do people always cry when they're sad? They don't. It depends on the situation. Being able to react immediately even in completely different situations is one of the advantages of aura. The seniors smirked as if they found it interesting. The boss said that he brought in a junior, but it's more like he brought in a teacher. Teacher. Show us an example. I wondered what I could do to make the actors understand. I looked around. First of all, having all of these torches is not good. Let's put them out first. I bent over and grabbed a handful of dirt from the stage floor. Then, I poured my aura into the dirt before throwing it out. The torches on the walls went out one after the other as small arrows of dirt hit them. The hobgoblins were surprised. What? What in the? The surroundings suddenly became dark. Okay. All the fire painting theaters resembled snail cities. The great caverns. A cave surrounded by walls on all sides, but with a hole in the ceiling. The goblins had long since forgotten their days of slavery, but the traces of it could still be seen in their architecture. Please be quiet for a moment, everyone. With the torches snuffed, the only source of light was the hole in the ceiling. The light of dawn. The stage was shrouded in bluish shadows. You don't need to do unique actions. The quiet carpet of dawn. You don't even need lines. Aura isn't magic, but I'll just show you. Let's say, for example, you want to express anger. I started doing push-ups on the stage. The more familiar an action, the better the effect. This is an action that anyone could recognize. You don't even need facial expressions. Hup. I slowly lowered my chest and waist. Then raised them. Before lowering them again. Like this, I went up and down in a specific rhythm. Now, normally, this is the speed when you do push-ups. This is normal, but this. I raised my aura. It was almost as though red flames had engulfed my body. In the middle of those flames, I began to do push-ups faster than before, to the point where it seemed strange. Quickly. Mechanically. Expressionlessly. It became extremely quiet. I continued to look straight ahead. Without the sound of heavy breathing, I continued to do push-ups at a high speed. My entire body moved. And around me, blood-red aura burned fiercely. Phew. 30 seconds later, I stood up and brushed the dirt off my hands. See? Those were just push-ups. It's a familiar movement. However, how did it feel? It's the same movement, but if you change the speed, the feeling changes completely. What if I was doing push-ups at an unstable speed while sweating profusely? The feeling would change again. If the first was refined anger, then the second is furious rage. That's what I meant. You don't need unique movements or special lines in order to express emotion. The hobgoblins seemed to have an idea about what I was talking about, but they couldn't completely understand. It was only then that I realized that I was talking to kids who might not be very talented at aura, for the first time. There, senior. I pointed to the one-eyed actor. He was the one who played the role of Flame Emperor in the play. Are you talking to me? Yes. The Flame Emperor was an incredibly narcissistic man. If it were senior, how would you express the Flame Emperor's narcissism? What kind of aura would you use to express narcissism? The one-eyed actor seemed to be confused, but he thought about what I said. Then he took out a mirror from the nearby pile of props. Probably something like this. The one-eyed actor looked at himself in the mirror. A faint aura slowly rose up from the actor's body, wriggling like a snake. Indeed. It's not bad. But it's weird. It's not right. It's weird. Look. The Flame Emperor called himself a real man. Would such a person stare at himself in the mirror? Do you think the Flame Emperor carried around a small mirror? Why would he do that? Senior is too focused on the thought that narcissistic people often look into mirrors. On top of that, your idea of narcissism is too shallow, that's why your aura was so faint and weak. Don't do that. You're just copying something. Can't you have an example from your own feelings, senior? Then how would you do it? The same way. I took a deep breath and controlled my aura. I controlled my aura like a burqa had in the past. Virtual muscles. My entire body was covered by my aura, as if my body was filled with bulging muscles. Hup. Hew, hup. Then I started doing push-ups again. Only this time, I was doing them very slowly, as if to appreciate my muscles. I also intentionally added the sound of my breathing. This wasn't an act to make my body better, but an act to show off how good my body was. Get it? It's simple, right? No. I wanted to point it out early, but the way you're using aura. What if I wanted to use this to emphasize the narcissism? It would be good to add small props here. For example, if we spread several chairs around. But the Flame Emperor, that crazy bastard, would never sit even if there were chairs. Instead, he would keep doing push-ups. Without rest. Then, people would recognize you even if you didn't say any lines. That bastard is crazy. He's a crazy bastard who's only obsessed with himself and doesn't care about anything around him. Can you feel it a bit better now? I suppose I should show you since I mentioned it. I easily picked up a few log chairs and brought them to the stage before placing them randomly. Then, in the middle of all the chairs, I once again started doing push-ups slowly while also breathing as heavily as before. Huff, huff, huff. Of course, I used my aura to give the illusion of burning muscles. How is it? Isn't this easy? After a moment of silence, the one-eyed hobgoblin opened his mouth. Who are you? Aren't I a rookie actor? The hobgoblins all looked at me as if I was crazy. No. Why? Chapter 184. Rookie Actor 2. The goblin race had a very good culture. The strongest were on top. If you had any complaints, then you spoke with your fists, not your tongue. Let's clean up first. Seniors. And here, I was the strongest. Look at the theater. What is this? Are you using spider webs as interior decor? Are you using mold as wallpaper? Ego. Look at how bad it smells in here. It's like a trash can. If a customer came in here, they would probably think it was a food disposal. No. But. Are you stronger than me? Can you act better than me? Can you use aura better than I can? No. Then move that rag, senior. We are not amateurs. A fire play is not just about the acting, but also the environment. A person's surroundings are like a window to their heart. If they think that seniors' hearts are garbage, then won't they think the theater is garbage? No, I told you to move the rag. Are you not listening to me? Do you want to get hit? I wasn't the type of person to just use empty words. A gentleman does not threaten. They just hit directly. I picked a particularly lazy hobgoblin and provided him with a nice fist massage. Do you want to get hit again? The actors held their rags while making sad expressions. Their faces seemed to be saying, I thought this elf came to be a junior, but he turned out to be a tiger. It's fine if it's wet. That's a trait of the goblin race. But who would like rotten water and a rotten smell? You're just lazy. If you try to cover it up by saying, goblins like humid and damp places, and real actors don't need to care about the surroundings, then the environment will become a mess. Are you dogs, seniors? J. Junior. I think you're being too harsh. Huh. I'm asking if you're dogs because it seems that you still haven't reflected on yourselves. Now I can only think of seniors as sons of dogs. From now on, if I say something, you answer with bark. Got it? B. Bark. Sounds like a weak son of a dog. Bark. Good. Now hold those rags in your hand. While cleaning, think of it as cleaning the theater and your minds at the same time. Wipe it hard until you stop being sons of dogs. Got it? Bark. They cleaned that day, the day after, the next day, and 2 more days after that. Senior. When you draw the bucket from the well, don't do it without thinking. Instead, raise it while imagining yourself as the servant of a noble. Immerse yourself in the acting. Think of how valuable an opportunity it is. Even as you clean and get rid of the son of a dog in your heart, imagine that you're playing the role of a servant. Then you can hit 3 birds with 1 stone. B. Bark. The one-armed actor removed the rotten water on the floor of the theater, and also dug up the rotten mud. Shoveling is not just shoveling. It's the height of absurdity. Congratulations. You are experiencing the 3,000 absurdities for free. Imagine. You are now a warrior on the battlefield. You lost your arm in the war. Okay? The war was so fierce that you lost an arm, but the commander still won't let you rest. Instead, he told you to dig a moat and build a wooden barrier. One after the other. It's a warrior's duty to not retreat from the battlefield, but is it still a warrior's duty for a one-armed warrior to shovel dirt? No. It's just dirty. Bark. It's dirty. Duty is a beautiful thing. But when you are forced into certain extreme situations, it doesn't look beautiful anymore. There are times when duty becomes dirty and your virtues become dirty too. In those cases, the more faithful you are to your duties, the stranger it becomes. It's dirty. It's strange. It's weird. Dig the ground, senior. Scoop the water. Do it while doubting if you're really a warrior or not. Dig hard. Dig. The one-armed actor followed my instructions perfectly. Did you take out the trash? Bark. Senior. From now on, you'll cut down trees to make new chairs. Is that fine? Bark. They are the chairs that the customers will sit on. Let's say that the fire play will last an hour. The audience might not look at you for an hour, but their butts will be stuck to those chairs for an hour. The only thing in this theater that serves the audience from beginning to end are those chairs. If the chairs are uncomfortable, then the theater also becomes uncomfortable. Bark. I understand the importance of this mission, Junior. Let's make new chairs together today. Since we're doing it, we should create special seats together with the normal seats. Bark bark. Loyalty, too. And the theater owner was caught up in the web as well. No. Sonia, I've never seen a theater company do things like this. His curses were very harsh. Now that I think about it, it's wrong for good-for-nothings to just roam around. Hurry up and clean. The members of the theater company, Mud and Dust, have submitted to your authority. The Mud and Dust Theater Company recognizes you as the shot caller. Even after the cleanup, they didn't stop moving. After hearing the tower's voice, I recalled something else that needed to be fixed. Hey, Sonia.
Yeah.
Even if I ask what you're doing with that ladder. No, is it okay for me to ask? I climbed up the ladder at the entrance of the theater, with aura exuding from both hands. In front of my face was a sign with the words, Mud and Dust, written on it. As you can see, I'm going to change the signboard. The theater owner was flustered. Change the signboard? Yes. 130 years of tradition is good, but to be honest, our theater company has hit rock bottom. Rather than pretending to be cool with a name like Mud and Dust, we need a name that appeals to the audience. I turned the signboard over. Luckily, the back didn't have anything on it. Injecting aura into my fingernail, I carved letters into the wooden board. Okay. That's dope. I was happy with the new signboard. Dog Sound Theater Company. The hobgoblin looked back and forth between me and the signboard. Sonia? Say it. We don't need to use dog sounds, do we? We still have 130 years of tradition. I heard from the seniors, theater owner. They said that you owe a lot of money to quite a few elves? The theater owner flinched. I heard that at least once every fortnight, a different elf comes to collect debts. Those guys. Why would they tell something like that to the junior? Tradition isn't cool. You have to take responsibility for your people first. Attract customers and gain popularity. Actors shouldn't sleep like shrimp in a dressing room, but should instead have a proper dormitory. Don't you agree? I'm still an elf. so I know how to do business better than goblins. Now is the time to have more than just one occasional customer. If you keep going like this, the theater company will not last much longer. I took the flyers that were made for the play and headed out to the street. Dog Sound Theater Company. The Dog Sound Theater Company will be performing next Saturday evening. Ugher. The hobgoblins passing on the street snickered as they walked past. The elf ticket clerks that came out to promote their own theaters also laughed. What was that? Dog Sound? Where is that? Good. There was a reaction. At least it was better than complete indifference. Now that their attention had been obtained, it was up to the ticket clerk to keep it and guide it in the right direction. Bark. Bark. There will be a feast of dog sounds that you can't hear or experience anywhere else in the city. For those who are tired of hearing that flame. For those who think bad guys should stay bad. You are welcome. There is no other place in the world to find sons of dogs like this. We are the true sons of dogs. Ugher. This fairy is really interesting. He's quite cute. The hobgoblins on the street giggled. The theater owner was staring at me blankly. When I thought that I'd gathered enough passers-by, I revealed my trump card. Now then. Brave warriors. This isn't a normal fire play that you could see every day. I snapped my fingers. Ding dash. A cheerful note sounded in the air. The passers-by were stunned by the sound that was similar to a piano key being played. Yugo? What was that? The source of the sound was simple. I sent out 2 threads of aura at the same time and made them collide with each other. As the aura trembled and the air vibrated, it created a sound similar to that of a piano key. It was a fairly difficult thing to do with aura, but it was easy for me. Behold. I made threads of aura strike each other one after the other. It was a song that even I, who was not familiar with music, could replicate. The Chopstick March. Look closely. Even a ticket clerk like me can use aura so superbly. The Dog Sound Theater Company. You can imagine just how amazing our fire play will be. On a sunlit street beneath the bright sky. I played music by moving nothing but my fingers. And it worked. Music from striking the air? How strange. My goodness. Is it really possible to make those sounds with aura? The passers-by were finally beginning to stop and focus their attention on me. It wasn't just the passers-by, even the ticket clerks of the large theater companies stared at me with wide eyes. The fire play of the Dog Sound Theater Company will not have a single line. Flame Emperor. Kekerker. No one will say any lines. Fire painting doesn't need words. It's just flames. Witness the first fire play without lines in history. It's like a stage performance. The hobgoblins watched my hands move in a flashy manner with wide eyes. Could there really be a fire play with no lines? Well, I don't think it's possible to say no words. Those who were shocked by my aura performance. And those who were suspicious of my advertisement for the fire play. The words, "How is that possible?" and "That's impossible," floated back and forth as their surprise and suspicion increased. The 2 best emotions for promotion were mixed in the atmosphere at the 3-way intersection. If the actors say even a single line, we will give you a full refund. A full refund for 1 line. We'll repay double your entry fee for 2 lines. We'll give you our entire fortune for 3. I smiled as I handed out flyers to the crowd. It's not a fire play that you could see every day. If you walk with a flyer, you will be able to bring 1 guest free of charge. 1 companion per person for free. It's not a performance intended to make money, but a performance to give you money. Thank you. Yes, yes, thank you. The passers-by already couldn't help but accept the flyers I gave to them. They were slightly captivated, and they accepted the flyers without fully understanding what was happening. Before long, I ran out of flyers. Thank you. Until the day of the fire play, I will be performing here every day. Of course, these performances are free. This is a very big deal. Our boss owes a lot of people money, and we're going bankrupt. We're desperate. I grabbed the theater owner's hand. The theater owner was surprised, but still accepted my hand. When the passers-by turned to look at them, he even smiled awkwardly. Good. There is no one who can act better than actors who are about to go bankrupt. No one has a home. All we have is the stage. It's widely believed by the academia that acting skills and wallet situations are inversely proportional. The Dog Sound Theater Company. I will also make an appearance. Next Saturday evening. The show is next Saturday evening. Thank you. Dog Sound. Next Saturday evening. I bowed to the crowd. The theater owner, whose hand was still in my grasp, naturally followed me. No one clapped or cheered, but the atmosphere wasn't bad. It was very nice. I quickly left the street, giving a professional smile that I learned from the Black Dragon Master to everyone that looked at me. Wow. Bei Hurayong muttered. Aren't you ashamed? I'm doing what I have to do. Why should I be ashamed? You really are the young master of the demonic cult. Compared to the things I did in the demonic cult, what's so bad about handing out flyers in the street? This is also work. Seriously, even if you were dropped in the middle of a jungle or desert, you would still manage to somehow survive on your own. That Flame Emperor guy is really amazing. He managed to send someone like you into the world. Lord Kekerker. Sonia, who had become a mental body, had a strange expression on his face, as if he couldn't come to terms with what he'd just seen. His expression was a mixture of respect and doubt. It's amazing, but somehow, it feels different from the way Kekerker normally is. No. Is this what Kekerker is really like? Right. This was me. Meanwhile, after we finally left the street completely, the theater owner opened his mouth. Did you mean that? Huh? What do you mean? About the first silent fire play in history. How can you do a fire play without lines? Of course I meant it. I can't lie to prospective customers, can I? But don't worry. I will do my best to help the others put on a performance worth paying for. If it doesn't work out, I'll go on stage by myself. You don't have to worry about lying to the customers. But we have more work to do. By now, the new chairs must have been completed. The VIP seats as well. Please make new tickets for the 12 seats separately. The price should be 12 times more than the normal seats. 12 times? The theater owner was shocked. If that's the case, our flyers have already been shared out. And 9 out of 10 of the customers will definitely bring their flyers. This means that there will be a lot of free customers. That's why we need to special seats to ensure that we make a profit. But isn't that too expensive? It is expensive. Only the customers who don't think it's expensive will buy it. Ding. I lightly tapped my aura, causing it to ring out. You saw the way I used my aura earlier. If there were any warriors with a sense of victory, they would want to watch my performance as closely as possible. They would want to watch and learn. It might be too expensive for a guest who just came to watch the show, but it's cheap for a warrior who came to learn aura. We'll attract the former with giveaways and charge the latter. Theater owner. Trust me, this price is a steal. The next day, around noon, 3 or 4 hobgoblins wandered around the entrance to the theater. Is this the Dog Sound Theater? I heard that there is a performance next Saturday. I want to reserve a front row seat in advance. I heard that an elf will also be performing on stage. Is that true? I'm only looking for a ticket because of that elf. Even after hearing the price, the hobgoblin warriors simply bought the tickets without hesitation. After selling 4 VIP seats in quick succession, the theater owner turned to look at me with an expression of disbelief. How is it? I smiled softly. Wasn't I right? 2 days later, the VIP tickets sold out. Chapter 185. Rookie Actor 3. All of the special seats have already been sold out. Has that ever happened since we joined this theater company? The actors were excited. It hasn't. We were lucky if even half of the seats were filled. If this continues, won't we be able to experience the same things great actors do? Our junior is a gem. Ugh. Even if they were just a third-class theater in an alley, no, especially because that was the case, they couldn't help but rejoice at the fact that the VIP tickets had been sold out. However, as soon as they heard the plans for their next performance, their expressions changed. A performance without a single line of dialogue? The seniors were shocked. They couldn't even imagine such a thing. How the hell? Think of it in the opposite way. I slowly explained. I don't know if you know this, but the original fire paintings didn't have any lines. There was no script. Only controlling your aura to move fire, that is the origin of fire plays. Is that so? The seniors tilted their heads slightly. Well, I suppose. Their reaction was natural. I knew it because I'd seen it, but these children had not. I'm talking about 900 years ago. It was a tale that was around 900 years, but it could be rounded up to 1,000. It was impossible for the current goblins to know what the original appearance of fire painting was. In this era, I was the only one who could speak with certainty. Seniors. Did you know that the goblin race has the ability to feel emotions just by looking at flames? You have extremely amazing sensitivity. I believe you can reawaken that sensitivity. Instead, lines are a hindrance. The reason why seniors' acting is so bad isn't because seniors are bad. It's because you think of the fire play as someone else's story. I looked at each hobgoblin. One eye. One arm. One ear. They were all actors who had lost something important. You all have shining gems in your hearts. But they are buried. And as long as they remain buried in sand, then it doesn't matter if they are gems or ordinary stones. I will help seniors dig up the sand. And I will help you truly love acting. Why, you always say such embarrassing things. I nodded. I mean it. For 7 days. I covered my hand with aura. And engraved 7 on the wall of the theater. Instead of sleeping, I will teach you how to do it. That night, the tutoring class began. 4. Sit in a comfortable position. As comfortable as possible. It's fine if you stretch your feet out. The actors sat comfortably on the stage. Good. Does anyone have sore shoulders? Tell me if you're uncomfortable. I'll give you a massage to help you relax. No one? Okay. Let's get started. I stood in front of the seniors and opened my mouth. Now then. Usually, aura is determined by more than just your thoughts. It is an expression of your will rather than the awareness of your thoughts. There might be some words you don't understand. Seniors. Raise your auras and show me the expression of your will.
Uh,
Caught off guard, the actors raised their auras. They fluttered slightly like mirages. I could not see the shape nor catch the scent. Compared to a burqa, who was the strongest goblin to ever exist, it could even be said that they had no talent. That isn't your best, is it? The actors were embarrassed. You dash, There are times when it is better. Right. There are days when it comes easily. When you're in a good condition, and your emotions are moving vigorously, your aura seems to come out easily. However, that is not enough. Not enough. From now on, you will need to be able to call upon your aura whenever you want. Ugher. The seniors smiled nervously. They probably didn't think they would be able to summon it at will. Their smiles were those that could only be seen on people who had already given up. I smiled too. I have a suggestion. Let's not use the word will anymore. It's true that aura moves according to your will. However, triggering aura is not caused by your will. Aura is triggered by memories, not will. That was the conclusion I'd made. This was something I came to realize in the Chronicles of the Heavenly Demon Master's world. Seniors need to learn how to recall memories well. Developing strong will is not a story about catching clouds. Recalling memories well. Yes. As clearly as possible. I looked the goblins in the eyes as I spoke in a serious tone. Seniors. Think about the sea. The actors closed their eyes. Are you thinking about it? We're thinking. Okay. I'll try to guess. You're thinking about a horizon that stretches out on both sides, right? It's just like a picture drawn on paper? A pretty shade of blue. Right? The seniors nodded. I smiled. That is the lowest form of memory. It's also the memory association you should avoid the most when using aura. Yugo? Seniors didn't think about the sea just now. Instead, you just thought about the word sea. With such a low-level memory, your aura would never bloom fully. Now then. I clapped my hands. Stand up. The actors hurriedly got to their feet. This time. I want you to imagine walking on a sandy beach. Imagine the water covering your ankles, your toes sinking into the wet sand. Whoosh. The seawater flows between your toes. It swirls around your ankles for a moment before receding. What color is the water? Is it blue? No. It's clear. What about the seawater flowing through your toes? Is it warm? It's cool. So it's cool. Is the seawater clean? No, the grains of sand make it murky. As the waves hit, the soil is swept away. Good. Now imagine the sand getting stuck between your toes. Small grains stick to your ankles as well. I hate the feeling. The grains are rough, aren't they? And they became sticky because of the water. That's right. You went into the seawater and even your calves got soaked. But the salt doesn't feel good on your skin. What should you do then? What will you do? Each actor responded differently. I'll go to the well and wash my feet first. Since I came all the way to the beach and even got wet, I'll swim as well. Are there no clams? Okay. This is what you call a strong memory. I spoke. Seniors. When you think of something in the future, never start with the word like sea. Instead, try to remember specific sensations, like the feeling of the soles of your feet moving in the wet sand. Then you will be able to use the memory. I looked at the one-eyed hobgoblin. How did it feel when you first thought about the sea? It was just blue, right? Like a simple drawing on paper. Ugh. But how would it feel to dip your feet in it? It's not clear. Right. Not only is it not clear, it also reminds you of an unpleasant feeling. Seniors were even able to think about what you were doing and what you would do after. That's it. Properly recalling memories. Recalling specific sensations, like the feeling of sand stuck to their toes. If they could do that easily, then their skill in using aura would naturally increase. If seniors had a memory of being burned to death. Whoosh. Flames came to life on my hand. It would be possible for seniors to express that hell with aura. A death crisis is usually the most effective at forcefully imprinting a memory into a person. Perhaps you see me as someone who was born with the talent to be an actor. As someone who could express vivid emotions and actions as if I was truly in the scene. I'm sure seniors are jealous of this. I would be jealous too. Seniors. Do you want to know how I got my talent? Do you want me to tell you the secret? As I spoke, the flame on my hand burned brighter. Because I have the memories. Trauma. How would someone act if they fell in the middle of such a hell? For me, it's simple. This is because I experienced that hell already. And that will always stay with me. No matter what you do, it is impossible to escape the shadow of your memories. Aberka was another example. It was the same for that child, who later became the strongest in the history of the goblin race. That child suffered from extreme albinism. For others, sunlight was a blessing, but for Aberka, it was like the blade of an enemy. Just walking around outside during the day was like a battle that he had to overcome. That child, who had the sun as his enemy, naturally decided to cover his entire body in aura. The rampant fire sword that we will perform next week is about Kekrker being disappointed and angry at the Flame Emperor. You're not Kekrker. Nor are you the Flame Emperor. But does that matter? Have you never been disappointed in someone? I looked at the actors one after the other. One eye, one arm, one ear. I looked at these broken kids one by one. Have you never let someone down? There is no way you haven't. I let the fire fade. We have all experienced bastards, and we have all been bastards to someone. Any of you seniors can be Kekrker. The Flame Emperor. That guy is a bit more difficult. His bastard-like existence is hard to replicate. I'll play the role of the Flame Emperor in the next performance. No matter how amazing my tutoring was, time was still limited. In this group, I was the only one who could properly play.
Yo! So? Ha!
The three actors all looked at me with complex gazes. Then, Kekrker's role. Who will be the one to take it? One of you will. I answered. I will give the leading role to the person that has achieved the most in this week. I said it in a different way. The person who can show the most disappointment will have the leading role. The seniors went silent. 5. My father is a gambler. The one-eyed actor's name was Erica. It had been like that since I was little. When he was young, he went to the blacksmith to learn to do ironwork, but he got into gambling after being introduced by his colleagues. However, he was a little talented. Or at least that's how it seemed. There were some instances where those who were talented led more miserable lives than those without talent. Talented gamblers were one of them. Sometimes he'd obtain a mountain of gold coins in a day. In that case, he'd buy a villa for us to stay in. He'd also pay for expensive tutors and housekeepers. I could also eat whatever I wanted. How long did that last? The longest was 2 years. The shortest was 3 days. Usually, it was around 2 months. The one-eyed Erica muttered. Whenever he won money from gambling, he would do business with it. He would start companies with other gamblers or loan money to them. There were times when things went well. However, if the business didn't go well, doing business always had ups and downs. It was a skill to ride the flow when it was going well, but it was also a skill to endure when it wasn't. He always tried to make a fortune by gambling. Unfortunately, Erica's father lacked the ability to endure. It was like this. He usually made about 3 gold coins a day. It was good if there was profit, but if there wasn't, he would gamble and try to win it. In my father's words, that was also a part of business, and it couldn't be helped. The one-eyed Erica sighed. I didn't have a home. It was either villas or inns. I never stayed in a place long enough to call it home. We lived in the biggest cities, but if his gamble failed, we would move to a worse one, and a worse one after that. Erica covered his head. One day, a woman came to the inn we were staying at. My lifestyle was a mess and I had slept in the room until afternoon. I wondered who was knocking on the door, so when I opened it, I was scowling. Are you Mr. Erica? It looked like something was wrong. I thought my father had gotten in trouble again. Sometimes people who lent my father money came to him. Or maybe she was someone who worked at the inn. Is your father here? No. I had just woken up from my sleep, so I wasn't thinking very clearly. And my expression was sour. So I held the knob of the door to show that I wanted to close it as quickly as possible. Who are you? The woman didn't respond. She just left after hesitating for a while. Although he thought it was a bit strange, Erica simply closed the door without trying to stop her. When his father returned that evening, he told him about the woman. That woman was my mother. She'd left when I was only 3 years old. So I didn't recognize her. Erica's eyebrows were furrowed, his eyes dazed. Everything was fine. However, I kept thinking about my expression at that time. I was annoyed. I looked at her as if she was annoying me. I held the doorknob the entire time. Like I disliked her presence. But I didn't know. He looked down at the ground with his one eye. But why did my mother call me Mr. Erica? Why the Mr.? I couldn't understand. I'd heard that my father and mother had decided on my name together. So why was it Mr. Erica? I don't know. A soft murmur escaped his lips a moment after. Sure ball. Next. The one-eyed actor left and the one-armed actor came in after him. He had a white tattoo covering his entire body that ended at his right shoulder. I was a drug dealer. The one-armed actor's name was Yumar. Chapter 186. Blaze 1. I was born in a dull countryside village. Yumar, the hobgoblin with one arm, said. Even as I grew older, there was nothing to do in the countryside except play with the other kids my age. Sometimes we watched to see if tigers would come down from the mountain, or we'd collect tolls from merchants that passed through the area. Our village was as poor as the dried bark of a tree. Yumar scratched his forehead. Wrinkles appeared in the flesh of his green forehead. Have you ever killed someone? I have. Right. You must have experienced a lot. The one-armed actor nodded. He didn't even seem that surprised. Where was the first place you saw blood? Was it on a battlefield? Or it was a hunting ground? I killed him with a surprise attack.
Ah.
That's not a very warrior-like achievement. Yumur raised an eyebrow. He just laughed after I admitted to murder in the middle of his story. Anyone. If they laughed while you were talking about the murder, they were probably laughing at themselves, who had brought it up in the first place, as well as your act of confession, while secretly hoping that you would join them in their ridicule.
Yeah.
That's right. I wasn't a warrior. That was the most important part. Without changing my expression, I asked. How about you, Senior? The laughter disappeared from Yumur's lips. How many years has it been? It's already been about 13 years. The village chief kept going back and forth between our village and another. At first, we thought he was going there to meet with friends, but he was doing it too often. Then, after 7 months, the village chief returned with a confident expression. I have created a business for our village. You idiots. The business that the village chief had been learning from the other village was drug production. At first, he started gathering the villagers. The first group consisted of 6 people. There were many idle youngsters like me in the village. It was called silvervine flower. If elves ate it, they would die instantly. But if you use it as a raw material, extract the juices, harden it into a pill. You weren't just a drug dealer, you were a higher up in the organization. Weren't you, Senior? The one-armed Yumur shut his mouth. How did you know? We have only been talking for a while, but I could tell right away. Senior is smart. You have a great memory. You remembered that it was 13 years ago, and that the village chief snooped around the other village for 7 months, didn't you? You're good with numbers. I poured some tea into Yumur's cup. Thanks to Raviol's direct teaching, I was able to greatly improve my tea ceremony skills. Though it was a shame that the theater company only had cheap tea leaves. You even know how to make the drugs. You remember the chief's every move, but it's not simply at the level of an agent in the organization. You were either the leader or vice leader. I'm sure that you were a key figure in the organization. You're really quick-witted. Yumur smiled bitterly as he picked up the teacup with his one hand. After taking a sip, he couldn't help but look down at the teacup in surprise. Sherbal. Why is this so freaking delicious? Thank you. So what were you in reality? Well, you're right. I was the leader of the village organization. I just happened to have a talent for gathering the others and getting them to do what I said. I was also pretty lucky. It wasn't just luck. He was a genius. Yumur's business grew rapidly. It was said I was born with good fortune. He gathered the young people in the village to form a militia, and they devoured the neighboring villages to develop their organization. Yumur, the boss himself, thoroughly supervised the drug production in order to ensure quality. Yumur's drugs were quickly recognized as a high-quality commodity and spread along the waterways through the elven ports. The juice of heaven. The powder of scholars. All of the products that Yumur made were a hit. Despite not having much talent for aura, Yumur had 100 subordinates. His men called him the warrior among warriors. At the point when his 100 subordinates steadily increased to 500, Yumur had a feeling. I suddenly had a feeling that things would become troublesome if it continued like that. It was an instinct. The Fire River Council is generous. It was fine as long as we didn't sell drugs to goblins. They didn't care about lowlifes who sold drugs to rich elves. However, if there were 100 or 500 people in the group, it was a different story. Although Yumur's organization was good, it was too good. I had no proof, no suspicion, but I had a feeling. It was now. If we didn't stop now, we would all die together. Humor gathered his friends and said, "Let's close the business." His childhood friends, who he used to collect tolls within the village, had all become executives in the organization, and their fangs grew. When they were in front of me, those pigs nodded and agreed with me. "So they turned on you?"
Shh.
*T. That very night, a group rushed in and tied me up. They threatened me to give up the drug formula. They brought the knives that I bought for them and put them to my neck. Those fuckers. Humor eventually confessed under their pressure. He even vowed that he would never take revenge or touch the business again. Humor's childhood friends accepted his oath. They took one of my arms. And in return, they spared his life. So the former boss of the organization became one-armed Humor. I didn't actually join the theater because I liked acting. I was just wandering the streets. Then the theater owner said he felt sorry for me and invited me in. It's been 10 years since then. It's all in the past. Well, I eventually came to enjoy acting. What about the organization? It was destroyed. Humor quietly looked down at his teacup. Less than a year after I was kicked out, they were subjugated. The council sent 13 members in the top 100. All 500 members died. What about your childhood friends? All gone. They were the executives. Humor's nose was twitching. Senior thinks it's your fault. You think it's your fault for raising the organization too well because you were too outstanding. If you had run the business moderately, or even if it had failed, then maybe the people from your village would have survived. You're blaming yourself for not stopping the chief at that time. Sure ball. The hobgoblin wiped the remaining tea from his lips. It served them right. Those bastards. Next. The one-eared actor entered. He was holding an old stuffed lion in his arms. I was the attendant of a prestigious family. The one-eared actor's name was Sockham. I saw the master of the house sleeping with a stranger. No, I didn't see it. I overheard it through a wall. I didn't intend to hear it. I didn't even go in. But he cut off my ear while saying it was bad to listen to others' moans. Sockham, the one-eared actor, muttered expressionlessly. "Isn't that too much?" The one-eyed Erica. The gambler's son. The one-armed Humor. The former drug lord. The one-eared Sockham. The former attendant of a noble family. Right. I nodded in front of the actors. Let's dance, seniors. We have a week. The day of the play soon came. And the seats were filled. 2. Are you sure this is the Dog Sound Theater? That's weird. I've been here before, and the name was. The theater was packed with customers 30 minutes before the play was scheduled to begin. Persons who came after seeing my street performances, and those who came after hearing the rumors. There were also some people who came in after seeing the crowd. Not only the VIP seats but also the standing seats were filled. Is there no watermelon beer? Or fried watermelon? Hugo, I don't believe it. Does this theater even want to make money? Seriously. There is an elf that works here, and he's amazing. He's able to make sounds in the air using only his aura. No, I'm serious. Why would I lie? Hugo. If I find out who just touched but you won't see a blood painting, you'll see bloodshed. Note, blood painting is another name for fire painting. It's a play where they won't say any lines. That was probably just an exaggeration. Didn't they say that they'll give a refund? There are too many people. Wiggle. It was like a packed market. Behind the stage, the seniors glanced at the crowd. Sure ball. The seniors were scared. The one-armed humor was particularly nervous. Look! Look! The person with the red tattoos sitting among the guests in the special seats. That's Morcan, ranked 21st in the Fire River Council. Sherbal. Who's that? He's a madman who is said to draw 1 centimeter of tattoos every time he beheads an enemy in battle. Look at how that bastard's body is covered in tattoos. Sokam spoke nervously. Actors from the Flame and Fire Demon came to watch. Ujek. Where? There. The 2 people wearing masks in the special seats. They covered their faces, but I recognize them because I've seen them often. One of them is Sormakunda, the ace of Flame, and the one sitting next to him is Jayamahan, the most popular actor, Fire Demon, these days. Why did they come to watch us? They didn't come to watch us. It was the one-eyed Erica that spoke. Erica kept looking at himself in the mirror to see if there was anything wrong with his makeup. They came to watch Sonia. There was nothing special about his makeup. His body was bare. Other than a cloth that was wrapped around his waist, he only had a black tattoo drawn on his body. That was it. That's right. He's amazing. Is he really a rookie actor that was recruited only a week ago? This performance is his debut? Since his debut stage was sold out, that means he will have the greatest debut among actors from the elf race. I think it's a legendary achievement, even for our race. Let's start. I opened my mouth. The seniors, who were trying to ease their tension by chatting, closed their mouths. You have practiced to death for a week. Don't worry. It's fine if your body doesn't move as you intend or your limbs are stiff. Just relax. Wouldn't that ruin it? I will control seniors' limbs with aura. Don't forcefully reject it. That shouldn't be possible. It's absurd. But we know it's possible. Sherbal. The 4 of us joined hands. Then I lightly covered them with my aura. Relax. My red aura flowed up the seniors' arms. They flinched and moved their shoulders slightly, but after a week of special training, they had grown used to my aura. Soon after, the seniors took a deep breath before accepting my aura. I relaxed the actors by massaging their muscles. Ahem. Ugger. The seniors' expressions relaxed. The atmosphere was also less tense than before. There's no need to worry. As you know, no one expects much from our fire play. The expectations are low. We'll amaze the guests just like we practiced. Okay? The seniors nodded carefully. Okay. It's time to start. I rolled my feet. Thud. The aura guided by my footwork made the air vibrate. What's that? What's going on? The audience on the other side of the stage were surprised. The hobgoblins all stopped talking at the sudden sound. Without caring, I tapped my feet. Thud, thud, thud. My footsteps didn't just keep the rhythm. I added a different note to each footstep. Aura. When the audience began to recognize some of the patterns in the sound, they expressed their surprise in different ways. The most surprised were the VIPs sitting in the front row. What in the world? Is that sound really produced by aura and not his voice? Right. It's aura. I told you. It was the same even in the street performances. It was that moment that the one-eyed Erica ran out on stage. The dark stage. Like a runner, Erica ran with long strides. And naturally, the audience's attention focused on him. Dong. The reason their attention focused wasn't simply because of the appearance of the character. Dong. Whenever Erica's foot touched the ground, a new tune filled the air. But before the audience could even break free of their shock, the one-armed Yummer and the one-eared Sockham ran out one after the other. It was the same for them as well. Every time an actor took a step on the stage, a new tune filled the theater. 3 people, with 3 different melodies. In this way, the melodies overlapped and the music finally took shape. Oh my God! The audience suddenly went silent. There were a few customers who couldn't help but unintentionally mutter under their breath. There's no way that all of that. They're doing that with aura? That was right. Music, not dialogue. It wasn't a play, but a dance. Through aura, I had become a one-man orchestra. Chapter 187. Blaze, 2. The sound of drums rang out in a dark space. Dung. No, it wasn't drums. Dung. Instead, it sounded like the sound of footsteps, but it also couldn't be the sound of footsteps since no one was moving their feet. The actors, who had already been spread out on the stage, one-armed, one-eyed, and one-eared, turned their heads towards the direction of the sound at the same time. Towards me. I crawled onto the stage with flames dancing all over my body. Wagger. Flame Emperor. The actor's shoulders shook. Car. Ku. Carcassa. They were trembling in fear. The sound of their trembling was transmitted through the floor, and the actors began to whisper among themselves like snakes hiding in the shade. Swee. Rack. Grr. It wasn't the language of the current era. It was from a long time ago, when they used to pick up acorns below ancient trees. The actors whispered liltingly, their words indistinguishable. Swee. Rack. Grr. Swee. Rack. Grr. The audience was beginning to be unsettled by the whispering. The language of their ancestors from ancient times was not something that these hobgoblins could understand. But they didn't need to understand. The audience held their breath. These green-skinned beasts could feel gloominess and anxiety in the sounds that came from the actors' vocal cords. Swee. Rack. Grr. The actors hovered around me in fear. Swee. With every step I took, my aura resonated to make music. Rack. When my steps slowed, the music also slowed. Grr. And when I grew closer to them, the music gradually intensified. Wagger. My flames spread across the dark flames. That's right. I crawled on all fours like a beautiful savage. I am the Flame Emperor.
Grr.
Low growls rose up from my throat. The actors who were surrounding me stopped and trembled. I am this world's fire. Aura became my voice. And beast-like growls continuously poured out of my mouth. I am a distinguished person. The stage began to shake, and the air around the audience shook with it. My bloody aura. A strange melody and rhythm filled the air. Sweeracker. The strange music resounded. Sweeracker. Like I was ridiculing the world and insulting everyone in it. Those sitting in the front row shrank back. Envy me. Be jealous of me. Worship me. The only sounds that came out of my mouth could at best be described as hisses. Because words were unnecessary. I did not speak with words, I spoke with aura. This world is just firewood to help me burn brighter. Swee. I crave your envy. I want you to recognize my brilliance. Fire cannot burn alone. Here you, trivial beings, will have the honor of being the firewood that burns endlessly around me. Rack. I laugh at my own success. But I laugh even louder at those who don't succeed. I scoff at your attention. But I scoff even more at those who don't pay attention. Grr. I'm a humble person. I look at everything with indifferent eyes. I look at life with a calm expression. Even my own success is nothing before my eyes. But since I'm more successful than everyone else, I will constantly remind you of my success. Indifferent eyes. Calm expression. And so, your success isn't success. And without success, your hard work and suffering are meaningless. From your greatest suffering to your paltriest success, everything becomes insignificant before me. I stepped forward. My flames burned. Surprised, the actors scattered. They ran away. Wagger. A smile spread across my lips. You all act like people. However, there is only one person in this world. And that one person is me. The fire grew more intense. It swept off the stage and engulfed the audience as well. Hick! A whimper came from the audience. Some of them instinctively used their aura to fend off my flames. I laughed harder, the music intensified. Only I am a person. My flames wrapped around the audience's auras and gently brushed against their throats. Irk! One of the audience members sitting in the front row twitched. It was the warrior who was said to be ranked 21st in the council. He sat with wide eyes, his forehead covered in cold sweat. The theater had become hell. When I introduce my success, I say it was nothing. So who are you who can't achieve anything? Something that isn't even nothing. Something worse than dust. The Flame Emperor's laugh. The Flame Emperor's arm movements. The Flame Emperor's smile as he looked around the stage. The actor whom my eyes met, Erica, flinched. I love animals who reveal their necks. He ran away. With a scream, the one-eyed Erica ran away. Those who innocently believed in someone and showed that innocence. Those that are soft enough to swallow in one bite. Flames sprouted in front of the escaping Erica. He turned and ran in a different direction. But he was once again blocked by a wall of flames. I was driving my prey. Spare me. Erica's mouth opened and closed. It seemed like he wanted to speak, but all that came out was a squeak. Just like I could make sound with aura, I could also block sound. I snatched Erica's scream as it left his lips and crushed it. Why are you running away? Spare me. Please. Don't run. I'm your father. Erica screamed until he lost his voice. Please. Spare me, don't kill me. Please don't kill me. However, his voice never reached the audience. From the audience's perspective, it seemed that Erica was opening and closing his mouth rapidly while struggling. The audience watched the silent death throes with bated breaths. Child. I walked up to Erica. I won't hurt you. Erica was trapped in a curtain of flames. By moving the walls closer, I restricted his range of movement. Now, Erica could only sit like a child trapped in a small room. Don't kill me. It's fine. Please. The one-eyed child shed tears. Help me, Mom. Then. I opened my mouth and bit Erica's neck. My teeth didn't sink into his skin. Instead, my aura tore through his flesh. Awa. Erica screamed. He howled in pain. I didn't block the sound anymore, so the scream he let out tore through the theater.
Ah! Ah!
The audience, who had only been watching the struggle in silence, shuddered at the sudden scream. It felt like a murder scene that could no longer be called acting was appearing before their eyes. What? That. Some of them gulped. Some wept. Some in the back row actually got so afraid that they ran out of the theater. However, the majority of the audience remained in their seats, staring at the stage that was engulfed in flames. I am the fire of this world. The hunt didn't end there. In the middle of a hell, I became a bloodthirsty beast that began to search for my next prey. Seeing this, Yumar and Sokam screamed and ran away. Save me! The music flowed. Chasing me! A monster is chasing me. It wasn't my fault. If someone had to be blamed, then it would be the world that allowed me to be born. It was the world that made me this way. People only flowed according to the curves of the world. I was bound to live as I was made, so how was it my fault? Let's dance. Swi, rak, gur. The whole world is my stage. Swi, rak, gur. Don't blame me. I'm just like you guys. I'm just a being born into this world like you are. It's just that I'm stronger than you. It is the law of nature for the weak to be eaten by the strong, so you shouldn't blame me, blame the world. Brilliant flames. I ran wild, spitting fire as I pleased and biting as I pleased. Aak! The one-armed Yumar fell. Then the one-eared Sokam. It was fine. They were just animals. For humans, animals were just meat, so this wasn't murder, it was a slaughter. Dung! The sound of the drums grew louder. Dung! The bloody flames engulfed the theater. Even after the 3 actors fell, my rampage showed no signs of stopping. Swi! Rak! Gur! The audience trembled. They were terrified as they watched my aura dancing on the stage. Up! One of the younger audience members fainted. His head fell onto the shoulder of the person beside him with foam coming out of his mouth, but the person beside him was frozen stiff and couldn't even help him. Dung! Just as the music reached its peak, the theater door was slammed open and a group of people stormed in. Stop everything! We are the security force under the Fire River Council. Note, expected this. Experienced and well-trained hobgoblins surrounded the audience. Everyone, stop. Stop everything. We were dispatched after receiving a report of mass murder and arson taking place here. If anyone ignores our orders and moves, they will be arrested without hesitation. And that is just the start. The tension in the air was so thick that it could be cut with a knife. It was only at that moment that the audience, who had been holding their breaths for a while, managed to exhale. Huff. Huff, cough. Audience members all over the theater collapsed in their seats. They slid back as if the pressure on their chests had been relieved. Immersion broken, I couldn't help but look at the security force with my eyebrows furrowed. I don't know how serious the report was, but the members of the security force were looking warily in all directions. Rescue first. Where's the arsonist? There are people collapsed on the stage. The hobgoblins rushed towards the actors. When they saw the 3 of them laying on the stage, they mistook them as dead. Of course, there were no deaths during the performance. No. Wait a minute. Don't need help. We're fine. One after the other, the actors got up and waved their hands. Where are your injuries? Are you hurt? Is your head okay? I don't have any. I'm perfectly fine. We were told that a mass murder was taking place here. Where is the culprit? Are you being held hostage? What? Erica tilted his head with a puzzled expression. Mass murder? Hostages? Nothing like that happened. The one-armed Yumar shouted. We were acting. You crazy bastards. The members of the security force froze. Acting? Right. It was a performance. We are a theater company. The Dog Sound Theater Company. This is a theater, we were in the middle of a play. By the way, I had been apprehended by the officers who thought I was the culprit. I could have easily broken free of their grasp, but I was so dumbfounded that I just let them do what they wanted. The leader of the group turned to me slowly. We were also told that there was a fire. I nodded. Whoosh. Aura rose up from my fingertip. It's my aura. I made it look like fire. They said a beast was biting and killing people. I was playing the role of a dog bastard, and my seniors were playing the roles of prey. Naturally, I had to knock them down during the play. In other words, it seems like someone reported it because we were so immersed in our act. At this point, even the members of the security force knew something was wrong. Compared to their vigilant and stern expressions when they first entered, the members of the security force looked embarrassed. An uproar also erupted in the audience. What's going on? Who reported it? Their reaction quickly intensified. What about the performance? It isn't going to end like this, is it? What happened? It's those damn security force bastards. They always show up to make trouble every day. Mumble, mumble. The complaints began pouring in from all directions, and the expression of the leader of the security force rapidly deteriorated. With a smile, I walked up to him. What should we do? I think that today's performance has been ruined. I'm sorry, everyone. Due to an unfortunate incident, we will have to end today's performance here. According to the security force, our Dog Sound Theater Company was told to stop everything. Please leave in an orderly manner under the guidance of the security company. Oh, by the way. I smiled brightly at the leader. Will you be responsible for the performance refunds? The audience erupted once more. That day, the theater industry in the city exploded. Because of a play that felt so real it got reported. Chapter 188. Blaze 3. The goblin race had a word that encompassed all things. About 1,000 years ago, this word, which described all their joy, anger and sorrow, came to life. And it was the word these fairies of the soil uttered whenever they were happy or sad. Sherbal. And today was the day many people shouted it. It was amazing. We were doing so well. You motherfucking dog. Shh. *T bastards. The one-eyed Erica swore as heavily as a sailor. The other actors also complained. That's right. Even if you had to interrupt us, why did it have to be at the climax? It's not enough to only give refunds to the customers. You should give us refunds too. You don't know how much effort we put in for today's performance. And now, thanks to you, all of our efforts went down the drain. The seniors fumed. They were angry that our performance had been interrupted, and that their immersion had been lost. No. We have no choice but to move when we receive such a report. The leader of the security force was sweating profusely. It was unfair from the perspectives of the security force members as well. Who could imagine something like that? Even if there were a lot of crazy reports in the world, they couldn't imagine that they'd receive a report because someone had been mistaken about a play. It wasn't just 1 or 2 people either. A total of 5 people reported the same thing at the same time. It was also a report with high credibility. We received 5 reports of murder and arson at the same time, so how could we not send out a team? Hugo? Then are you trying to say it was our fault? Perhaps if you all had acted a bit less realistically. What kind of bullsh*t is that? The security force leader couldn't help but make an embarrassed expression as he was criticized by people from a theater called Dog Sound. Everyone, I understand the situation of the security force. We were currently in the security force's main office. The charges had already been cleared, but the investigation still needed to be conducted in an official manner. On one side of the building, there was a sign that said, "Blocking beforehand is more beneficial than judging afterward." Was this the security force's slogan? Nevertheless, we still need that refund. We have to be repaid for our effort. After all, it's not like we can do business by eating dirt. While it's true that the security force couldn't have known, the situation of our theater company is very bad right now. If this performance fails, we might have to close down. You go. They had already finished interrogating me. From, "Can you really make your aura resemble flames?" and, "Could you really engulf the entire theater in your aura?" to, "Is it true that you can make music with your aura?" Of course, it was all true. I personally demonstrated my aura at the security force's main office. The eyes of all the members stared at me with amazement as if they were thinking, "Where the hell did this monster come from?" However, I smiled widely. As I said before, I understand the security force's situation. So if you accept our condition, we will accept only a small apology fee. Condition: we will give you special seats for free. So please come to our next performance. The actors all turned their heads to look at me. Junior. What kind of bullsh*t is that? Note, Dog Sound. It's not enough that they ruined everything already, now you want to give them special seats for free? I don't think that's a good idea either, Junior. Ego. These seniors really didn't know how to do business. I smiled slightly. Ooh-ha. Tuck. The complaining actors immediately went silent and looked at me with wary gazes. The last week. Through the special hell training, the seniors had learned the timing of when to speak and when to listen. Where was I? The invitation for the special seats. The security force members all looked at me with strange expressions. After all, for adult hobgoblins had just gone soft in front of a young elf they called Junior. They didn't know how to describe it. Should they say he looked like a young mafia boss or gangster? In any case, it was not an ordinary sight. Our theater company would like to formally invite the security force. I know you are very busy, but we would appreciate it if at least 4 or 5 people took the time to come. Then we'd accept only a small apology fee. Why? The leader was perplexed. No. I mean, if it's okay with you, then we would be happy to. But why are you formally inviting us? I lowered my eyebrows slightly. To appear as pitiful as possible. It broke my heart to see you guys get cursed by the customers earlier. Yugo? Broke your heart? Yes. You guys were just doing your duty as the security force. But it seems you are always criticized by the citizens. That's why I wanted to do something for you. We're all learning, aren't we? I hope that watching the performance will bring you some comfort. The eyes of a puppy in the rain that tickles your heart, that I learned from Raviel, was a lethal move that was always well received. It was to the point that I'd received 4 pats on the head in the past. This time was no different. The hobgoblins were visibly moved. Unbelievable. Is he really an elf? Are you sure he's not an angel? I can't believe we made this young man stop acting. Our wrongs are great. You guys trusted people too easily. I started to worry about these children. They wouldn't be able to live in such a harsh world with such a personality. Zombie, you really? Huh? What is it? It's nothing. Right. There's nothing I could say to you. Bei Hurayong let out a deep sigh. What was wrong with him? Could Ghost become senile too? In any case, the members of the security force happily accepted the invitation. Even if a lot of them couldn't go because of their busy schedule, they said that they would definitely repay our sincerity. On the way out of the office and back to the theater, I didn't know that Junior felt that kind of admiration in his heart. Yummer murmured. We had been dragged out in the middle of the performance, so we were still wearing the clothes from the play. As we walked with cloth around our waists and black tattoos across our bodies, passers-by on the street looked at us with curiosity. That's right. It was kind of surprising. Until now, I thought Junior was a demon from the depths of Kekricker's stomach. We were all upset because the play got interrupted, but it's embarrassing when we look at Junior. PCH. I clicked my tongue. You guys really don't get it, do you? Seniors, we have received a huge reward. Ugher? It's just a bit of money. If we do a few more performances, we'll be able to get it back. We can even do another one tomorrow. However, what we just did was make bait. The seniors tilted their heads to the side in unison. What's that, Junior? Well, these kids. They were cute. Once again reaffirming that the goblin race was the cutest in the universe, I calmly explained. We have the skills. We also have plays to perform. Now, all our theater needs is publicity. And perhaps by tomorrow, everyone in the city will know what happened today. I heard that the security force rushed to the scene after hearing about a fire. But then they found out it was just a play. The aura was so vivid that the audience thought it was real fire and reported it. That's the bait. In other words, it would become a conversation topic. All goblins are potential customers. Everyone, regardless of age or gender, watches fire plays. So don't you think they'd be interested after hearing about aura that was so vivid it was mistaken for fire? I also added more bait on top of that. What if the rumors spread that the theater company who suffered at the hands of the security force invited them to watch their play? Ugher. Indeed. The actors all had contemplative expressions. Are you saying that more people will come to watch? Definitely. That wasn't all. Apart from that, I am an elf. Although you seniors might think it's fine, if we continue on the road to success, there will definitely be goblins who get jealous. Fire painting was a culture unique to the goblins. But a strange elf rookie suddenly appeared and quickly gained popularity. It would be difficult to get a positive response. That's why, even if I have to say things I don't mean, it is a good thing to get the security force on our side now. After all, we are also merchants of acting. And there is nothing wrong with merchants having a good relationship with the security force. Do you understand now? They will definitely take our side if they were to receive another report. Or at the very least they will ignore the reports that make no sense from now on. Amazing! The seniors were stunned. Sometimes, the junior doesn't look like an elf. But when he starts using his brain like that, it shows that he is definitely an elf. Our junior is the most talented person with the heart of a goblin and the head of an elf. If only he had a bit more muscles, then he would be perfect. I couldn't gain that much muscle even if I wanted to. I just hope that Raviel didn't one day awaken a desire for a muscle man. Gongja, she'd whisper in my ear, it would be nice if you gained a little more weight. Gently. Just a little more. Whispering. I want to see your arms thicker than they are now. I would give billions of dollars to the best trainer on the first floor of the tower without any hesitation. What? Internal muscles? Bullsh*t, throw it away. Junior is smiling again. Sometimes, he would just suddenly smile without saying anything. I have no idea what he's thinking about. Honestly, it's kinda creepy. Scary. It gives me a terrible feeling. So noisy. What do you know about love? Even if they knew love, they didn't know Raviol, so in reality these guys knew nothing about love. Children. There they are. It was then.
Ah.
The actors have returned. A large crowd had gathered in front of the theater. One of them pointed a finger when he spotted us. Then, the hobgoblins who had been crowding at the front rushed towards us. Thud. Thud. Dozens of huge hobgoblins surrounded us. What's going on? The seniors were frightened. What happened? When is the next performance? A hobgoblin shouted. We bought the tickets with our own money. We are victims of having our viewing unfairly interrupted. That's right. We deserve to have priority seating for the next performance. Tickets. Give us tickets. They were like an annoying group of seagulls. The seniors were stunned. Hugo, wait a minute. Someone squeezed themselves out of the crowd. It was the theater owner. The wrinkles on his face seemed to have deepened, as if he'd suffered greatly at the hands of the customers before we returned. Hook. These guys, it would be better if they asked for a refund, Hook. Even though I said I would give it to them. We don't need refunds. The hobgoblins shouted as one. Right. We don't want refunds or anything like that. Just give us tickets for the next performance. I'm sure you must have others planned. I heard that the special seats are worth 6 times more than the others. Is it possible to increase the number? Naturally, we will pay for it. Tell us how many special seats are left. The theater owner was sweating. They're being so persistent even after I told them we hadn't planned anything else yet. I really can't. Currently, the real power of the theater company was in my hands. Just by dealing with the customers without blindly promising when the next performance would be was already the best I could hope for from the theater owner. Everyone. I smiled and bowed my head. Thank you for enjoying the Dog Sound Theater Company's performance so much. Did you find it interesting? It was more than just interesting. Ugh. It's the first time I've seen aura used in such a way. However, it wasn't just the aura that was amazing. In any case, it was amazing. It was as intense as flames. It really was. The crowd became excited. I bowed my head to express my gratitude, but the seniors' reactions were different. They were even more dramatic. Our acting. That's right. The one-eyed Erica, one-armed Yummer, and one-eared Sockham had probably never received such good attention before. Like children receiving Santa's gifts for the first time, they didn't know what to do. The next play is still being scheduled. Unfortunately, we don't have any plans to perform The Rampant Fire Sword again. That's not possible. We'll riot against the security force. But hearing your compliments makes me want to pay you back even if we didn't plan to. I gave the professional smile created by the Black Dragon Master. Therefore, next Saturday, we will perform The Rampant Fire Sword once more.
Oh.
That's not all. The Dog Sound Theater Company always puts its customers first. This play won't be open to the general public, but only to those who visited today. It is a special performance just for you. A secret performance. The crowd, who had missed the climax of the play, were ecstatic. Thank you for your enthusiastic support. Now for those who want tattoos, please come one by one. We will paint them for you. The goblins also had a culture of giving signatures. However, instead of signing on paper, they drew patterns on their bare bodies. The actors drew these patterns using soft mud. That's why theaters with famous actors often had audience members who bore the same tattoo. But I let out a loud laugh. In order to receive a pattern from us, you must agree to one condition. What's that? Shout, son of a bitch, before you get the pattern. The crowd laughed. They probably thought I was joking. However, I was serious. Flame Emperor, you son of a bitch. Like this? Yes. Thank you. Flame Emperor, you son of a bitch. Thank you. Flame Emperor, you motherfucker. Ego, you even said something like that. You're awesome. The crowd laughed even louder while exchanging jokes with me and the other actors. And everyone left with satisfied expressions after receiving patterns on their shoulders, chests, and backs. For reference, the pattern I drew was a dog. While also promoting Dog Sound Theater Company, it would also imprint the image that the Flame Emperor was a son of a bitch, truly killing two birds with one stone. Zombie, you really? Huh? What is it? It's nothing. Right. There's nothing I could say to a psycho. Bei Hurayang sighed again. The ghost was definitely going senile. I was certain of it now. Poor thing. The influence of the heretic cult weakens in the goblin race. I heard the tower's voice in my head. Returning to ancient times is starting to gain popularity in the goblin race. The possibility of renaissance opens up for the goblin race. The quest, the warring theaters period, the crisis of classics progresses. Current heretic erosion rate is 86%. Now then. It seemed that the tower was also cheering me on. I smiled at the theater owner and the seniors. Everyone, are you ready to become an awesome theater company? Even if we couldn't do it now. When I started something, I made sure to see it through to the end. Chapter 189. Prima Donna 1. Sold out. All seats were sold out again. The reaction to the dance plays was explosive. First, the legendary fire sword dance that was so realistic that even the security force was called. Followed by the burning grave. And even Demon King Estelle. The legend of all seats being sold out continues. The dance plays unfold with the actors' expressions and dance moves. Everyone should also get on board with the new trend. The size of the Dog Sound Theater Company grew rapidly. We hired separate ticket clerks and also increased the number of actors. Nevertheless, it still wasn't enough to keep up with the demand. Welcome. Current heretic erosion rate is 44%. A stage where every hand gesture causes excitement and every arm gesture causes temptation. Where every life becomes a dance. Current heretic erosion rate is 32%. Look at the flames of aura and cheer. I trained the actors even more passionately. Keep your chin up. Your body should always be relaxed and ready. When you're angry, you clench your fists. If you see something you don't like, you frown. Your body has to react to your emotions. The more your emotions and bodies connect, the more natural the aura you create. Now. Pack. When I clapped my hands, the members of the theater company began to move in unison. Good. Next. Pack. The actors moved their limbs according to the choreography I created. Huff, their hot breath flew across the stage. Huff, drops of sweat fell from their foreheads. Next. Body movements that the goblins performed in the primitive era. The basic movements that the infernal heaven's demonic art had accumulated over the years. Mixing the two together, I taught the actors the choreography. Okay. Next. Thud. With the most primitive rhythm, the deadliest gestures, the hobgoblins moved their feet. The 3 original members were at the head, and the newly joined actors supported them. A total of 24 members danced together in perfect timing. Current heretic erosion rate is 28%. I smiled. Good job. Get some rest. Ugher. I really thought I was going to die. So tired, the juniors' training is too hard. The hobgoblin actors all collapsed. There were complaints coming from all over, but the actors' faces didn't match their words. Their expressions seemed to say that they were happily letting the sweat flow. I wondered if this was enough. I think I should retire soon. Huh? Sonia turned to look at me in surprise. After being possessed by me, Sonia had become a mental body and wandered around all day. He was made happy every day as he watched his body become a famous great actor. Lord Kikeker? Retirement? I meant retire from your body. I came down to this era to handle a certain mission. I think the mission will be completed soon. I'll have to give you your body back. You can't. No, you can't. Sonia jumped up. You made it this far and now you're going to retire? It doesn't make sense. They're now called Kekerker, the greatest actor in Guru. The prima donna, the greatest actor in the history of the goblin race and the first elf to experience such success in fire plays. You can't retire. It's impossible. It's a good thing. I laughed softly. Didn't you say that it was your dream to become a successful actor? Now, you've succeeded. You can enjoy a life of success. But. Are you scared? Sonia immediately shut up. I shrugged. You're scared. Even though this is what you wanted, it was all done on my own, without your skills. You're wondering what will happen if I leave now. Aren't you? UK, Guck. You can retire too. I gave him the simplest option. The legendary actor appeared like a comet and disappeared like a comet. If you say, I'm not interested in being the top, it will only cause a ripple. In fact, they might admire you even more. Isn't that cool? At least on the surface. If you don't go on the stage, no one will know you changed. I also made a lot of money. Your reputation has skyrocketed. You would enjoy a splendid retirement life. I would. Sonia pursed his lips. However, Kekerker is right. I guess I was just thinking too much. Huh. Then it's fine if I invite your parents to the next concert? Huh? I'm talking about your family. To show them that even after they kicked you out of the house, you became this successful without their help. It's to brag, show off. They said that one of the best feelings in the world is showing off to your family. Why? You don't want to show off to your parents? No. That's not it at all. Then I'll invite them. I took out an invitation and handed it to a nearby ticket clerk. This ticket clerk was also a young elf. When elves reached adulthood and entered society, they would usually run around looking for a job to make money. Please deliver this to the 3-story green-roofed building built on Fallen Leaf Hillside. Chief Choreographer. The young elf, a newbie to society, had a pale face. I'm sorry, but I am not an errand boy. I am a ticket clerk for the Dog Sound Theater Company. I don't know about others, but I'm proud of my job and my company. That's cool. How about 1 gold coin for your pride? You said it was Fallen Leaf Hill? I'll be right back. The elf quickly ran away with the invitation and the gold coin.
Ah.
Sonia made a soft
Ah.
sound. That was all. Sonia raised his arm awkwardly. It was as if even he didn't know why he was lifting his arm. I gave them invitations for special seats. The price will be equal to the food you had before you left the house. It's a price with symbolic meaning. What do you think? Yes. I think that's fine. Sonia looked in the direction the ticket clerk ran off in. And time passed. The Black Dragon Master has successfully completed the quest. News of my companions, who had been silent for a while, finally came in. Unlike the previous stage, we were required to complete a quest for this stage. The Black Dragon Master was the first to beat it. Although she had been pushed out of her rank by me, she was still the hunter who reigned on top of the top guild. She has the experience. I couldn't help but admire inwardly. The very next day, a well-dressed vampire came to visit. Hi. I was practicing with the members as usual. The theater should have been closed because it was practice time, but somehow the old vampire was able to enter. He smiled when he saw me. Is he a crazy fan? Something like this had also occurred some time ago. However, the old vampire's outfit was very grandiose. He stood out too much to be a crazy fan. A black suit. Leather boots. He even had a gold-tipped cane and a silver ring on the hand holding it. Customer. I'm sorry, but it's not yet time for the performance. If you want to see the actors training, you need to make a separate reservation with the owner first. Humph. A long grunt came out of the old man's mouth. With our relationship, I still need a reservation to meet you. I didn't know that. Should I apologize now? Huh. His voice was low and carried an old-fashioned, but why was speech so familiar? Subconsciously, I called on my aura and wrapped it around the old man. However, with a tuck, my aura stopped as if it had collided with an invisible barrier. This was impossible if the other's aura hadn't reached a mature level. Black aura flowed gently out of the old man's cane. Wait a minute. No way. Hoo-hoo. An old man with an unfamiliar face let out a familiar sound. I opened my mouth and thoughtlessly pointed at the old man with my finger. Black Dragon Master. As expected. I knew it was you. The vampire laughed like a little kid who had successfully played a prank. No, why? Why do you look like? It definitely is you. People will definitely be interested to know that the Death King possessed an elf. The members who were focused on practice turned to look at them. I thought it would be dangerous. I took the vampire to a dark corner of the theater. How did you know it was me? Also, didn't you complete your quest already?
Yeah.
I cleared the quest, but I haven't declared stage clear yet. If I go out of the stage now, I'll have nothing to do but to wait until you guys are finished. I thought that would be too boring, so I decided to see what the others are doing. Wow. Amazed, I couldn't help but look at the vampire, no, the Black Dragon Master. For some reason, even though I thought this outfit was flashy before, I felt that it suited the Black Dragon Master. You look awesome. Thanks. The Black Dragon Master smiled brightly. It was a smile that looked exactly like the one I was taught. If you took a picture and showed it to the Duke, I'm sure she would like it. I miss Raviol so much these days I feel like I'm going to die. Someone would think differently if they heard these days. Ah. By the way I knew it was you was simple. After moving to the largest goblin city, I simply asked if there was any name that was always popping up lately. And you were able to infer it was me from just that? I just wondered who it would be if not you, Death King. You're the type who takes over all the craziness that happens in the world, aren't you? Those words will get an innocent man in trouble. In any case, I came to see you. The Black Dragon Master peeped out and looked at the stage. You really became the leader of a theater company. Dancing? Yes. Why? I never knew you were good at dancing. It's only a dance in name, it's more like a martial dance. I copied the moves from martial arts to make the choreography. It's a bit difficult, but I can hold on with aura. Your humility. The Black Dragon Master spoke while watching the members practice. I missed it. The vampire's eyes twinkled with curiosity. Is this a fire play?
Yeah.
There are a lot of rumors around the city. I wonder how amazing it is to drive the entire city crazy. When is the next concert? I haven't scheduled it yet. Tisk. We have quite a few in our repertoire. This is a bit embarrassing. Would you like to watch the first part of a play called Burning Grave? We made the tower's 10th floor as the background. I'd be more than happy to. Okay. Sit wherever you like. I went onto the stage and clapped my hands. The hobgoblins who were practicing the choreography turned to me. Now then. Let's begin the final practice for the day. We'll do the group choreography at the beginning of Burning Grave. Did anyone forget it? Good. Begin when I start the music. I slowly started the background music with my music. The members started displaying the movements of the choreography they were familiar with. The children playing in the burning grave, in other words, the fiery mansion. Sometimes flashy. But their movements were unique to the goblin race. The beginning of the fire play ended with the children running away in order to avoid being caught by slave traders. Great job, everyone. You're dismissed. You guys can stay in the theater and practice on your own. Let me know which members want to practice. Yes, thank you for your hard work. Yes. See you tomorrow. I said
Goodbye
to each member before heading towards the seats. In the middle sat the Black Dragon Master in the shape of an old vampire. How was it? The Black Dragon Master was speechless. She was lost in thought. With her hand on her chin, her gaze was locked on the now empty stage. It's amazing. Why did no one think of this before? I'll come back tomorrow. The Black Dragon Master jumped to her feet. Black Dragon Master? Wait. Death King. Even if you complete the quest, don't declare clear. No matter what. Oh, if possible, sleep here tonight. It would be annoying if I came back here for nothing. Transfer. The Black Dragon Master disappeared. I felt the presence above me, and when I looked up, I could see the Black Dragon Master's figure appear for a moment before disappearing again. I was suddenly left alone. What the hell was that? The answer was revealed the next day. The Crusader has successfully completed the quest. About 30 minutes after I heard the tower's voice. Pot. The signature of Black Dragon Master's teleportation appeared once again. And the scene that unfolded before me was surreal. You. Why did you move so quickly? Splash. A strange sound appeared in a theater made of mud, stone and wood. The sound of water. Splash. And in the place where the water sound was coming from was a bathtub. As in bathtub you used to take a bath. The mermaid race loses energy without water. How many times have I told you that? If you put me in a fishbowl and transfer. A mermaid covered in gills was splashing around in the bathtub. The Black Dragon Master was comforting the mermaid in the bathtub by saying, "Yes, I'm sorry, I was wrong," with a very not sorry expression. A mermaid. 0. By chance. Crusader. Freeze. The mermaid slowly turned her head and we made eye contact. Huh. Crusader, is that really you? The mermaid's tail swayed restlessly in the water. Since it was the water in a bathtub, I was able to see everything. The mermaid's tail, which was fluttering helplessly, right? It reminded me of a flatfish swimming around helplessly in the aquarium of a sushi restaurant. Sorry. While a heavy silence descended upon the theater, the Black Dragon Master spoke casually. I know you don't want the others to see you like this, but there's something I wanted to show you. You'll probably wonder why you didn't think of this in the first place. Crusader, you went to a music school. Out of all of us, you are the expert. Black Dragon Master. Ha. Die. Splash. In an instant, the Black Dragon Master was splashed with bathwater.